A corkscrew punch! It's super effective!
Throughout history, humans have achieved many things. We've made light bulbs, cars, planes, the internet, and even sent ourselves to space. But now today, I'm going to try something that puts all those things to shame, which is getting this video monetized. That's right, every pony. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Peter Griffin and the Philosopher's Time, which is a show that certainly exists. Before I watched it, I had literally no expectations since it had a score lower than a 6 on my anime list. For those who don't know, anything that's lower than a 7 on there is usually a steaming pile of ostrich manure, although there's obviously some exceptions. Thankfully, this ended up being one of those. It wasn't god-awful, it wasn't... Honestly, I'd even go as far as to say...
Hey, that's pretty good.
Big mouth.
Yes, I'm not joking. I actually ended up enjoying this, so if you were expecting me to shit on it nonstop, then I'm sorry to disappoint you. Anyway, guess I should explain why Peter Griffin is...
Spicy goodness. Like a bitch.
So the anime begins with Peter competing in a tournament, which he wins, and in doing so gives him the title of being the strongest man alive. Shortly after his win, he gets greeted by an ogre who thanks him on his win and...
So, I was just thinking. Give me some of your junk spunk.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so this ogre outright shouts in public that she wants Peter Griffin's... Not only does she say it, but she says it multiple times too.
Would you have sex with me and make
You obviously don't understand a goddamn thing!
Then right after this, her sister comes, and of course she wants to get down and dirty with him too. She also says that apparently a bunch of other hot mamas from other nations are going to be coming after Peter since they want to suck on his
Pickle!
Now, because this is a harem, Peter runs away since he's a big fat
Pussy!
However, it turns out he has a genuine good reason for doing so since he went to meet up with his girlfriend who shortly after becomes his fiance. So that's one thing that makes this different from other harems. Peter isn't a big dumb loser that rejects every girl he sees for no reason whatsoever. Instead, he has a girlfriend who becomes his fiance and will eventually be his wife too. So yeah, Peter is a pretty normal and chill dude who just wants to live a regular happy life with his wife and have her touch his
Pickle!
However, when he returns home, the two hot ogres are waiting for him and are ready to play Super Smash Brothers.
Characters! What are this means next?
So he refuses to explore their cave of wonders, but
The next day.
holy Jeffrey Epstein, code red, we have liftoff. Peter Griffin and the Filipinos Adventure Time just pulled a motherfucking school days. That's right, Peter had the balls, no pun intended, to cheat on his girlfriend and soon-to-be fiance with two hot ogre ladies. Not only that, but after this, he pounds an elf, a hot pig slave girl, as well as a dwarf. He even reunites with a goblin chick that he raised when he was a kid. They say they're a family, but of course what they really mean is that they want to start a family.
We can't do that! We're family, remember?
This show doesn't fuck around one bit. Peter gets his Peter pleasured. Half the time everyone has no clothes on. All they ever talk about is getting down and dirty. This also makes it a pain in the ass to edit. I either have to zoom in, freeze frame a shot, or show nothing at all. But that's why getting this video monetized is gonna be more challenging than sending a goddamn rocket to outer space. Anyway, that's pretty much the plot. Peter gets his Jimmy played with by the hot mamas and lies to his fiance about cheating on her. Pretty sure that's a big reason why a lot of people hate this since Peter is a... Now, does Peter deserve to be hated? Yes he does. He absolutely does. Peter lies to his fiance as well as to everyone else, saying he doesn't cheat and that he'll always stay loyal to her. He cheats on her so many times and most of the time it's entirely his fault. He just gets horny and... Now, I say most of the time because there are occasions where he's kind of forced to dilly-dally with them. For example, there's a blonde Freyrin chick who puts a spell on his dick which gives him an endless boner unless he, yeah, I'm sure you know what he has to do. There's this one scene where he gets trapped in a room with this hot dwarf girl, and of course the only way out is for the two of them to have... But yeah, while there are occasions where Peter is sort of forced to do the funny, a lot of the time he's just super horny and stupid. Does this make him an asshole? Yes. Does this make him a dumbass? Yes. Does this make him a bad person? Peter is a piece of shit, but he's not the super detestable, unlikable scumbag like Makoto Ito from School Days. Back a few years ago, I made an hour-long review of the series, and in it, I admitted that I actually do like Makoto since he's nothing but a pile of poop-scented rat feces. He's so unlikable and over the top that it's amusing seeing just how bad of a person he is. You sit through the whole show seeing him evolve, or I guess devolve, into this obnoxious asshole that wants nothing but sex from anyone. He even stoops so low into hooking back up with his ex-girlfriend since no one else wants to be with him, but then at the very end this happens.
I'll have a double triple chance in that.
Yep, he dies. It's satisfying, it's hilarious, and it's one of the most memorable endings to any anime ever. People diss on School Days for having an unlikable and unrelatable main character, which I don't really get. Does every main character need to be some good-hearted person that can do nothing wrong? Do they all need to have some good qualities that make them relatable and likable? Most of the time, yes, but that's if the main character is a protagonist, which Makoto clearly isn't. He's an antagonist. That's why he fucking dies at the end of the show. The same can be said for Peter, although this one is much more subjective since the anime doesn't end, unfortunately. Peter is hated by his fiance's father, who wants to kill him since he's an asshole and doesn't want his daughter to marry anyone. However, despite this, he's sort of in the right here since he'd be stopping Peter from cheating on his daughter, although killing him is a tiny bit too far. Anyway, Peter is the main reason why the show is so divisive and is also why it's so enjoyable. He's not just a typical harem protagonist loser like Kazuya from Rent, Skune from Vampire, and plenty of others too. He might be a big piece of poo-poo for cheating on his fiance all the time, but you know what? I don't really care. He's an asshole, but he's not a horrible, unlikable scumbag, and that's because at the end of the day, he still doesn't want to plow any of these chicks. All he wants is to be with his fiance, get married, and live the rest of his life with her. But because the monster girls are so horny, and because he's so stupid, he ends up giving them his sperm. So yeah, he's not laughing his ass off and enjoys cheating on her. He's just a big dumb moron, although I'm obviously not condoning what he does. Being unloyal to your lover is horrible. Loyalty is important, and that's exactly why Rainbow Dash is best horse. Anyway, besides Peter, there's the girls, and obviously if it wasn't for them, Peter wouldn't be cheating. So if people want to get mad at the show, then they better be mad at these chicks too. Unfortunately, there's not too much to say about them since they all act the same. They all want to get pregnant so they can give birth to a kid that'll grow up and be as strong as Peter. That way, they'll help protect their town, they'll live a good, happy, easy life, etc. Not going to do a waifu war since again, there's really not much to say about most of them, although I will say that Pig Girl is best girl. Worst girl is Peter's fiance, and everyone else is sort of in the middle.
This state of relaxation can be triggered by our crotch custard.
Yeah, this show is funny. Not every joke lands, but a good amount of the time they do. For example, there's a last arc in season 1 when an ogre comes and reveals that the ogres are actually princesses. He's had a crush on the tall one ever since they were kids and of course wants to marry her. However, since he's not strong enough to beat her, she refused to marry him along with everyone else in their town. So Peter trains him for a week, he fights the hot ogre but loses since he's too distracted by her oinga boingas. After that, Peter suggests that he does the funny with this one chick who likes him since that'll make him less horny. So he does that, but instead of having a rematch with the lady ogre, he decides to give up on her and start going out with the human chick, which made me laugh out loud. We spent 3 episodes having this guy try to impress the lady ogre, but then at the end he gives up because he's fine going out with this human that he literally just met. There's a bunch of stupid and funny moments like this. It's so dumb and over the top, which is why the show is so entertaining. The Ichi is pretty good too. I probably pitched like 30 or 40 tents watching this, and obviously I can't show or at least have to heavily censor all the scenes.
As he was bleeding out, sobbing, begging for forgiveness, I yanked our old man's pants down. Then I cut off his dick and shoved it in his mouth.
Anyway, while there's definitely a good amount to like, there are some minor annoyances. The first season has 4 main girls, all of which get 1, or I guess technically 2 episode long arcs. I say technically 2 since each episode is only 12 minutes long, so 2 episodes are basically 1. Anyway, enough time is spent on each girl where you get a basic understanding of them, but unfortunately not much more than that. Was hoping season 2 would expand on the cast some more, but they only do that for the fragrant elf along with her sister. That's because because season 2 introduces 4 new girls, which is kind of annoying. This isn't a series like Smartphone that has an insane overabundance of pointless characters, but still, there's definitely a bit too many chicks for a series as short as this. Another flaw is its animation. The girls look hot, which they better be, otherwise this anime would fucking suck. However, in terms of animation, it's pretty horrible. Movements are stiff, sometimes characters are just still images that move up and down. It looks very cheap. My last problem is the pacing, which is a slight problem, but only in season 2. Season 1 had multiple arcs that were only 2 episodes long each, except for the last one, which was 3, but that was fine since it was the last and best of the season. Season 2 has less arcs, and now they're each 3 episodes long instead of 2. Because of this, they're a bit slower paced, especially the one with the elves, but it, along with my other complaints, still aren't a big problem.
Welcome to the secret elven village Minestrone.
Okay, so who are you supposed to be? Check a carrot cake!
Does Peter Griffin deserve a lot of the hate it gets? No. Most people that seem to hate this just hate harems or fan service anime in general. So if you're not a fan of these types of shows, then why bother if you know you're not going to like them? There's definitely some series that I force myself to watch even though I'm like 95% sure I'm going to hate them. But the thing is, I only do that if they're labeled as harems, and the thing is, I love harems. They're my favorite genre of anime. So at the very least, I hope to enjoy at least some aspect of a series, even if I think I'm overall not going to enjoy it. But there's certainly series and genres that I know I'm not going to enjoy at all, which is why I don't bother with some of them. If they aren't of a genre that I like or they aren't being praised to death, then why would I bother wasting my time with them? Peter Grill was a pleasant surprise, but again, the only reason I watched it was because it's a harem. It didn't matter that it had a terrible score on my anime list, it's a harem, and harems are supposed to be fun and stupid, and this one certainly was. Anyway, Peter Griffin and the whatever time thingy is pretty good, which is why I'm giving it a 7.54 out of 10.
I don't feel so good.
Like I said before, I had basically no expectations for this, and I went into it already knowing that the manga still wasn't fully available online. The manga is currently complete, but it's not all translated into English, meaning that I'm not going to start it yet. There's like 10 or so more chapters left, so maybe in a year it'll be finished. Whenever that happens, I guess I'll make a super quick follow-up review, but as for right now, this is where the video ends.
You son of a...
Bitch.
Well, that's going to do it for this video. If you liked it and want to support me, you can either leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, and make sure to hit the bell. You can also support me on Patreon or here on YouTube by becoming a channel member starting at only 99 cents a month.
But shit, it was...
There's also a Discord server up that you can join using the link down below. Anyway, time to go work on my 7-hour review of the greatest anime of all time, Heaven's Lost Property. That'll be out eventually. Also, special shout out to Marvin Mack for being a super duper harem helper. Thanks for the support.
Check it out.